Well, hello. Welcome to that GD show, our first ever Halloween show. We didn't do a Halloween show last year, did we, Genevieve?
No, I don't think we did, because it did not fall on a Monday.
Well, people are hearing my voice, but they don't know who I am because they don't recognize me because I look really great. I mean, objectively speaking, I look great.
Objectively speaking, you always look fabulous.
I'm a rainbow hippie, if you can't figure out what I am. I was going to come as a Jesus freak, but I realized Jesus freaks wouldn't do rainbows because gays and God. And so I'm just coming as a regular hippie.
I thought you were just refracted light.
No, I'm a rainbow hippie. That's all I know how to say. Genevieve, what are you tonight?
Oh, I am a witch. Yeah, clearly
You look wonderful.
Noted by the top hat.
Yes. You look wonderful. You're a wonderful witch.
Thank you.
So, Captain Dadpool. Welcome to the show. You've been here before a few times, but welcome back. What are you tonight? What are you tonight?
I'm a vampire, if you couldn't tell. I don't have a costume, so I kind of threw this together last minute, and this is definitely not a cup of ketchup.
So you've got a little snack there to tide you over for the show. Well, that's good. Thank you for being here. And then down in the corner, Nicole.
My favorite.
Probably win the costume contest tonight because you are the meme that this is fine. Everything is fine.
The world's on fire, but this is fine.
I love that. Yes, the world is on fire as we approach midterms. And yep, it's on fire, but this is fine. This is fine. Thanks for being here, Nicole.
And there's Greg Markowski with his 1999.
Greg!
Happy Halloween, you big kids. Don't eat too much candy.
Oh, I'm going to eat all the candy. We had a grand total of three, a group of three different groups of trick-or-treaters. We gave out maybe 12 pieces of candy all night. So
wow,
we'll be eating candy for a while. We live on a cul-de-sac that doesn't get a lot of traffic, so it's fine. And there's apostate Ashley, who is all in sacrilege garb. What are you tonight, Ashley?
Just an unholy nun.
Okay. I've heard about you, people. I know. Yeah. I've heard of your kind.
Well,
and you're going straight to hell tonight after the show. So
I also heard direct from the Pope's mouth that nuns also watch porn. So thank you.
Oh, right. Wait, the Pope said that?
Right? Yeah.
Nuns and priests. He came out and said that.
As in, he said also, as in he does too. So the nuns do, everybody does it, kind of thing.
I hope that this is like the Pope's character arc where he becomes a very sex positive leader of a large population of the world. I think we would all benefit from that.
Gotcha.
I don't think that was the context, but that's what I'm going to pretend it is because this is fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
fine.
This is fine. And last but not least, Oz, bringing up the real. What are you representing tonight on Halloween?
I'm a wannabe rapper.
There you go. and you're doing that quite well. So speaking of, you have big news to share. What happened last night?
Devil's Night, my first album since leaving religion, not being this is cringe as fuck Christian rapper.
Cringe as fuck Christian rapper.
My first album since leaving faith dropped yesterday, so we had a 6-hour stream last week. We've been talking about the music, but
nice.
Yeah. Get on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you choose to stream.
So they're there. Go get your what's the album called, Oz?
Devil's Night.
Devil's Night. Okay. So it's a lot of the stuff you wrote post deconversion and your processing of that, correct?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Childhood stuff, relationships. Yeah, the deconversion, abuse. There's all kinds of shit. And there's fun shit in there too. It's not all serious.
Okay. Not all heavy. Okay. Go get it wherever you get music. Support the Oz. And that's awesome, man. Proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
So Halloween, this is our Halloween show. And so what we wanted to kind of do tonight, and hopefully we got some people calling in. I don't know if Call-In Studio looks to be maybe having some problems, but hopefully we get that worked out. Just your stories of if you grew up fundamentalist or if you were in fundamentalist churches that, in my experience throughout the years, the evangelical circles I ran in had some weird phobias about Halloween. Literally believing that certain activities on they looked at it as an unholy night. That all kinds of nefarious activities in the unholy world were swirling around us. The demonic activity was at its highest level throughout the whole year, and that if you did certain things, you could open up. I'm not going to be able to say some of this stuff with a straight face. A portal, whatever the fuck that is, a portal to demonic activity. So, if you recognized witches, for instance, or you dressed up as a witch, sorry, Genevieve, that just merely wearing the outfit would open up your spirit to demonic activity. It's like here's how we viewed it. God was in control of the world, but not really, because Satan had been unleashed in the Garden of Eden because of man's fall, and Satan was out there warring against Jesus and God's people. Remember, Jesus fought with Satan after fasting for 40 days, and there's always this bad guy that's lurking right around the corner. And anything you do as a Christian can open a door. In other words, God will protect you if you're in prayer, in the Word, in church, tithing, doing all the things you're supposed to do. But if you do certain activities like play with yourself, look at porn, dress up as a witch on Halloween, or as an unholy nun with an upside down cross, you're just opening up, you're giving permission essentially to Satan to come in and wreak havoc in your life. And all kinds of bad things are going to happen because of that. And God can't do anything about it because you willingly opened that door. Did any of the others of you live in that kind of world?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Definitely.
Was that you, Oz, you and Nicole?
Oh,
Me too.
yes.
And Ashley, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, looking back on that now, how do you, I mean, what's your thinking or feeling as I'm describing that?
I laugh now. I think it's hilarious now because it's like you can go do all the things all the other kids do, but like dress up as a football player or a baseball player, or whatever.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, but don't like my family then would have said, especially Dadpool, Genevieve, and Ashley, you're fucked. You're burning in hell. That's way too far.
Well, there's also there's also Dadpool with drinking the blood, and he's a vampire. He's not faring too well either.
He's literally toast.
Yeah, and I'm representing the gays, so I'm probably messed up. You and Nicole, the only ones, I don't know. Nicole's already in hell, looks like.
I'm just on fire already.
And it's
But-
fine.
I might
it's
have been
fun.
able to get away with this at Harvest Party because I could say I was on fire for the Lord.
Oh,
That would have been
That's-
allowed.
that's harvest party. Now, okay, you just opened up another term.
Yes.
Yep.
Describe
harvest
that,
party.
Nicole. Describe that.
So harvest parties were kind of the Christian alternative to Halloween because they
Right.
knew the kids wanted candy. They had to give them something. And so for a lot of us, and for those of you that don't know, Austin and I are cousins.
Oh yeah.
Our moms are siblings, and we grew up in very similar backgrounds and attended the same church for a while. So you had this harvest party, but you had to dress up usually as biblical characters. Definitely had to be wholesome. And so these harvest parties would involve,
And not
praise and worship
Jezebel.
music.
What? Not Jezebel.
I know
She's
Jezebel.
a biblical
No.
character, but you can't use her.
No.
Or
And
Bathsheba.
Oz has seen the picture. I wish I had the picture. My sister didn't send it to me, but my mom and I got creative one year and we dressed my sister up like a slice of watermelon and put peace on the front of her and said she was a fruit of the spirit.
Of course.
Aw,
That was allowed.
cute.
Oh,
That was allowed.
Take a
Otherwise-
bite out of that watermelon.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of the Christian alternative for us kids was we could go to the harvest party and you would see lots of prophets and priests and
Yeah.
things like that dressed up.
Isaiah and
Mhm.
yeah. So those kind of costumes were allowed.
Yes.
But anything having to do with the dark underworld.
Well,
Which-
just don't be secular. Just
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah.
Okay. Now anything secular like what's the secular? Well, like Spider-Man or Superman. You couldn't even do that.
We had
So-
to dress up as athletes. My brother and I.
Mm.
Oh,
Nothing
okay.
with sorcery or witchcraft. No Harry Potter.
Well,
Mhm.
dressing up as athletes, I mean, when Christianity and patriotism are tied so tightly to one another, then it makes sense
Mhm.
that, of course, yeah, Sunday is for Jesus and football. So that's totally sanctioned. Greg Markowski actually in the chat just asked a question that I was just thinking, which is what about Satan?
He's a
Because,
biblical character.
He is. He's not a secular character. We don't think he's real, but he is a character of the Bible. Well,
Oh, he's
he
a
is and
character.
he's not. Yeah, he
He's
is and he's not.
I wonder if the churches these days would allow you to dress up as Donald Trump, which I'm sure some do.
Probably.
I'm sure
Probably
some
so.
do.
Well, he is the next Messiah. So
We just came
Well-
back. I don't know. You guys live in different parts of the country, and we just came back from a retreat of a bunch of ex-Christians getting together. We do it once a year, and most of them have come out of fundamentalist circles, like I did, and some of us did. And we're in East Tennessee, northeast of Knoxville. It is as red gets in this country, and we literally passed by. We're driving by it, and I looked. I said, "Bevan, look over there," and she took pictures. I wish we had them to post. It was a Trump store.
oh my God.
Mm.
A Trump
store.
store.
No.
And underneath it said where you get all of your Patriot gear. And it was a
Ooh.
life size. We could see from the highway. I wasn't going to go near it. I was close enough to it on the highway. I got the chills. But there was a life size cutout of Donald Trump standing there getting hit in that big old fat suit of his with those two big thumbs up that he does so awkwardly. Hey, so that tells you the kind of that tells you the people that they're catering to over there. I mean, if they can have a whole store that sells nothing but Trump shit, it's where Dollywood is and Pigeon Forge. It's that whole tourist area, and they draw them in by the millions in every year. And those are the kind of folks they draw them into. So they'll be dressing up as biblical characters and Donald Trump this year, I'm sure.
Sounds like a house of horrors.
And as Nicole says, this is fine. So we had a church that tried to spin Halloween and they called it Holyween. I'm not kidding. I wish I was kidding. Holyween. And so everyone had to come to the church. And this wasn't when I was a kid. This is when I was on staff as an associate pastor. And even then, I thought I was eye rolling. I thought, oh God, come on, just stop.
Did they know what that sounded like?
What does it sound like, Genevieve?
A holy Wayne?
Get your mind out of the gutter.
I
See?
immediately thought the same thing.
You
Thank
people.
you. Thank you.
Dave, that's what happens when you open these disgusting fucking portals in your life.
See, we've got demonic activity swirling around us as we speak, and we're thinking of wieners, and that's just so wrong.
Isn't every ween holy though?
Well,
technically,
every ween has a hole in it, right?
If you say, okay, we're going down into okay. Only a vampire would talk like that.
It's a gift.
So you've got harvest festivals. You've got what's the trunk or treat thing? Does anybody have those?
Yeah, that's what we did.
We do those every year.
What is that about? Is it what? I never understood the trunk part.
It's for lazy people.
Yeah, each person decorates or dresses up as a specific type of theme, and then you can decorate your trunk
of your car.
Yeah, you just
you just open up,
it.
and you can. People get really creative with it. Like people make their trunk look like a shark mouth, and then you go in there and grab the candy. Or I just want to make it look like a Pokemon center, and they'll dress up like the nurses, and they'll have like little stuffed Pokemon in there. So I think it's fun. It's not just a church thing. There's plenty of like secular places that do it too, but not usually on Halloween night. Usually they do that like the night before or a couple nights before.
It's all in like one parking lot, so the kids don't have to walk.
And sometimes they'll have like games and activities.
So is it in the church parking lot typically, or just any parking lot?
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
I think some
like
of that
a
too.
Drive-through trick or treating.
And to control where your kids are getting their candy from so that they're not getting, drugs or razor blades in their candy.
Yeah, because that's a real problem. Yeah, that happen. I see the news reports every year of kids slicing up their mouths with razor blades that these wicked people stuck in the candy that they unwrapped and wrapped again because it's all wrapped. So I understand the thinking of there may be danger out there that weird people can do things. So there's obviously safety measures you want to take when you're walking around on streets and it's getting dark. And so, but I think I don't know of any parents that just send their kids out loose running the neighborhood, unless they're teenagers, which then they're too cool to even dress up. They just stick a pillowcase at you and want you to throw candy in it. They don't. We had some come to the door. They couldn't even be bothered to say trick or treat. It's just like, oh, come on, man, make an effort here. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, the other one I remember, and I can't remember the name of it. It's escaping me, but like the entire week of Halloween, leading up to it, and they had like the grand finale or whatever on Halloween night, but it was basically a fear house where they had each room, like one had a car accident where
we did that too.
The hell house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Ashley, explain what yours was like, because those things are just horrible.
That's psychological abuse.
It is.
Yeah, it was. I remember. Well, I did the one where it was like I was chained, like I was like a demonic possession, and so I had chains attached to me, and I came like rushing out screaming. And then the guy next to me, he did hanging, like he hung himself.
Jesus Christ.
And then, like Oz was saying, there's a car accident. A lot of the time they do abortion, where they act out like a vacuum cleaner, almost like sucking it out and really try to scare you about.
So you walk through, like a haunted house, you walk through different rooms, and each room has one of these scenes. Is that the idea?
Yeah. And then
there's scary music and stuff playing.
Yeah, kind of. But most of the time you're just kind of walking through, the lights are down low. It's really similar to a haunted house. But at the very, very end, you usually get prayed for if you want, and you can accept Christ, and you can go through the sinner's prayer.
Because the idea is to scare the hell out of you, basically, where all these things, if you're not. And so they all send their teenagers out recruiting to bring their friends to these things, right?
Correct.
Man.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. The Hell House.
Those are horrible. Have you ever seen one, Genevieve?
I've seen these hell houses in like documentaries about religious trauma and abuse. And it does genuinely blow my mind that they exist. I mean, I will say, like, so I was raised entirely secular, and I do remember going to haunted houses. And if I did get scared, there was always like a parent or guardian there who would tell me, "Oh, it's okay. Like, it's just for fun. You're safe." And I'm just imagining how it must have felt like being a small child, and you go through the same terrifying thing, but at the end of it, the adults aren't telling you, "Oh, it's okay, you're safe. It's all make believe. It's all for fun." They're telling you, "Nope, this is very real, and if you don't do what we say, then this is exactly what is going to happen to you for eternity." And it just,
It's
like,
cringy. It's
a big
cringy.
piece of me like shatters inside. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Yeah, and it's just that the Christians feel like that whatever means necessary.
Yep.
If I have to traumatize you into heaven, I'm going to. It's that important. And the irony of it is lost on them, because when you look at what is the symbol of Christianity? A cross, a torture symbol,
Torture device.
a torture device that they hang around their necks, they decorate their walls with, they put them up and down the highways, and they think it's this glorious thing to celebrate. And if you looked at what the story actually says, it was a bloody, hideous moment in history, supposedly, where God killed his own son.
Yeah, the one. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah, that's all right. Go ahead.
So the one in Ohio was way bigger as far as attendance and the amount of rooms and everything compared to the one or two that I went to here in Indiana. But I remember there was one room, and it's the only one that I remember vividly, because in trigger warning, at that point I'd already had, I think, 2 suicide attempts, and they had a room where it was this young guy slitting his wrist and then his soul being carried out by demons to go to hell, right? And I remember I'm like, was that supposed to help me?
Were you a Christian then, Oz? Were you in the church?
Yep.
And that still traumatized you even as a Christian?
Yeah, because I was confused. I was like, so I do something, and the worst thing does happen. I just automatically get shoveled off and dumped in hell. That to me still sticks. I remember that vividly.
That's messed up. Ricky, you were in evangelical circles. You were in conservative fundamentalist churches.
Yeah.
Did you guys do stuff like that? Because we didn't do the hell houses. I don't know. That was more, in my opinion, that was more people like Baptist in the independent fundamentalist Baptist who were really focused on hell. Our messages weren't that much about hell. But was that part of your experience?
We definitely talked a lot about hell, but we didn't do any like alternative Halloween things.
Yeah.
Like they kind of just ignored it, like pretend it wasn't happening. But at the same time, they would talk about how, like we were saying at the beginning of the show, opening up portals. And my church was big on the fear of the Lord and showing reverence. So the idea was you shouldn't celebrate Halloween because it doesn't show reverence or fear of the Lord. They're like, you can. It's not going to send you to hell if you do. But if you're really dedicated to your Christianity, you won't do this. But I was, when I became a Christian, I was already too old to trick or treat anyway, so it didn't.
Yeah, same with me. But this is hey, Kim Possible, 666 on this dark night. Halloween has always been my favorite holiday. I was lucky to have parents similar to Genevieve. They never pushed religion on me. Drink some blood with that.
Not drinking that.
Cheers.
I will say, before we get too carried away in conversation, I do want to remind everybody on this Hallows Eve that this is a call-in show.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have any stories about Halloween and how awesome it was for you because you had cool parents like me and Kim, or how shitty it was that you missed out on so much of it because you were indoctrinated, just share your stories, decompress. You can call 217-375-9933. Our lines are open. Please do that.
I got so carried away.
Favorites. It's okay. There's more housekeeping we can do. It's totally
like and subscribe. I think they take you off YouTube if you don't say that. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Patreon support is always welcome. I got so excited about the costumes and everything.
I know.
And we were running late. So, yes, please call in. We'd love to hear your horror stories about fundamentalist Halloween upbringings. For those of you who are stuck with a costume this late in the game, we've got one suggestion for you, Ethan. Would you put that up on the screen? This is for parents that don't celebrate Halloween. This is a costume you can get, and it was what Genevieve was just referencing. It includes a King James Version Bible, the Wow Worship album, the Yellow Album, hatred of Harry Potter, but obsession with Chronicles of Narnia, thinly veiled racism, and kids that are deconstructed and good liars.
And is this one size fits all?
Yes, it's one size fits all. It's a stretch. It's stretched to fit. So that's a costume you should run out and get today.
Funny story. So I am dressed up. I don't have children, but I did go trick-or-treating because it was my partner's first time trick-or-treating in his life. He wanted to go trick-or-treating before he turned 30, and he was never allowed to as a kid.
Yeah.
And while we were, he was driving and I was scrolling through Reddit, and I'm subscribed to the ex-Christian subreddit. And that's where I saw that. It was like on the front page of that subreddit tonight. And as soon as I read that bit about loving Chronicles of Narnia, but hating Harry Potter, it was just immediately like, yeah, that's exactly it. It's just...
It's mind-blowing. What's the difference? What's
There's
the
magic
difference?
in Chronicles of
There's
Narnia, too.
magic. And yeah, you go through a goddamn wardrobe to even get there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
We did have a long conversation about how, it's interesting that Harry Potter is so vilified. I mean, I'll vilify it now because like J.K. Rowling can go like, she can 300 herself for all I care. But I shouldn't say that, but I did. But it's still like,
I don't know what 300 means, so let's just move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I know that C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien were Christians.
Yeah.
And there's like some very obvious Christian symbolism in the Chronicles of Narnia. And you can make the same, case for The Lord of the Rings with Gandalf, especially with his return. But I mean, even with Harry Potter, I mean, his parents sacrificed themselves out of love. Harry Potter was the chosen one. And even at the very end, like, he sacrificed himself and was resurrected.
Whoa,
in the
spoiler
battle
alert.
Dark Lord. I'm so sorry. Spoiler
Jeez,
alert.
Jen.
Oh, you know what? Oh, gosh.
There may be 5 people that haven't read the book.
About to start reading it tomorrow. You know what?
Well, I know that you're... Oh, my gosh. Well, Captain, I know that you're joking. But I actually kind of do take that seriously, and I kind of wish I took that back because my partner and I just watched Harry Potter for the first time together just a couple of years ago.
I've not seen
because of these parents. So
I've not seen the movies nor read the books, so
just tell me how the Bible ends too.
So good.
I don't know.
My only conclusion was that Harry Potter was written by a woman, and women are not allowed to teach.
Well, there's witchcraft in all of them. There's witchcraft in the Bible, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's just there's magic all throughout the Bible. We just call it different things. Like Jesus walking on water is not magic; it's a miracle. Raising from the dead is not magic; it's a miracle because Jesus did it. But it's nonsense.
I love when Noah or Moses turned his staff into a serpent. And Pharaoh's magicians also made their staff into a serpent. Like, it's the same exact thing, but
he's a hero. Okay. Yeah, he's a man of faith, and it's okay for him to do it. But these guys are wicked. There's a couple of super chats we missed, Genevieve. Can you grab those?
Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much, King Nick, 1994, 10 euros. Oh, lucky you.
Nice.
Such a great show. Consistently amazing guests and topics. Dave book is fantastic.
Well, thank you.
1000%. Even better than I expected. Love you both, Genevieve and Dave, and guest 2, of course, Carpe the fucking Diem.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Derek Cruz, thank you so much for your $2 super chat.
Thank you, buddy.
Halloween. Happy Halloween.
I hear that Atangelo is lurking in the chat. We will give him no attention.
Oh my.
He is a sad excuse for a human being. And it'd be nice if he'd get a life, honestly.
Yes,
but he can't seem to.
Babe,
Yeah, go ahead, Oz.
Really quick. Every time I look up to your corner of the screen and I see you, I want to pause this, go buy a bag of Skittles.
Maybe that's what I should be as. I'm just a bag of Skittles or M&Ms. I can't stand to look at myself, so I'm looking at all the rest of you lovely people because I may wish I'd never done this. But you know, we're laughing. We're obviously poking fun at the ideology behind the weirdness that fundamentalists attribute to Halloween and these kinds of things, and the way that they think about demons and demonic activity and witches and magic and how they vilify it. But it's not. It's funny to us here because we realize how silly it is. But it wasn't that long ago in this very country that they burned human beings who they decided were witches. That really happened in America and other countries. They became convinced that these individuals, mostly women, but I did read about it, and it's a couple of men too. They became convinced that these people were actual witches. And because the Bible, that holy book that doesn't have any magic or anything in it, says that witches should be burned, they burned human beings to death in front of their family, in front of the townspeople. Hell, it was an event to be celebrated for the town. They didn't have TV or anything, so they had to have something to do. So let's burn somebody and make it a festival. It's absolutely disgusting. So these things that we're making fun of, and they should be ridiculed. I've always said that we don't want to ridicule people. We ridicule bad ideas because bad ideas inform bad behavior, and that can be dangerous. It can be deadly, as we've seen in real time in the last week or two. I think we got a call. Is there? No. Anyway, Genevieve, you see anything going on with College Studio?
Yes, we do. We do have a call. It is in the screen right now, so we've got a little bit of time.
I'm sorry, that was my rant, but I'm just.
No, that's that's a.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that's a really important rant, and I mean, I'll even say that, like, even today in some countries, like when these fears of witchcraft are still so prevalent. I mean, you have small children that are being cast away from their families and left to starve to death on the streets because people think that they're demonically possessed. I mean, there's still, the state that I live in today, which is fairly progressive, I'm pretty sure that we still have a law in the books that says that you're not allowed to run for office if you're an atheist.
Yeah.
And it really has just been this sick way to easily vilify anybody who you might consider an enemy because it's an unfalsifiable claim. How are you going to prove that this person is a witch? Maybe they're different. Maybe they just know a lot about medicine. Maybe they don't want to get married. Maybe they just have different ideas that don't conform to, Eurocentric biblical standard. Just call them a witch and you're golden. It's unfalsifiable. Yeah. You can burn them. It's fine. And we can joke about it like in Monty Python, maybe she's as buoyant as a duck or maybe not, but either way, it's a lose-lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can joke about it almost as just like that sense of dark humor, because it is absurd. It is absurd to think that people genuinely believe these things, but I do think it's also like it's a way to deal with the pain of understanding that we live in a world where people once did and still do think this way about people that fall outside of the norm, and it just
you've got a whole segment of the American population who believes that liberals and politicians and famous people are drinking baby's blood, and there's a wicked cabal, a satanic cabal. So they're still giving credence to this idea that Satan is behind the scenes pulling strings and causing the people that they don't like to do hideously horrible things. Now, we all know that this is not true, but it still lodges in their brains as something that is true, and they repeat it to one another, and then they call for the death of Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. Yep.
And then shit happens, folks. They storm the Capitol calling out her name like Nancy, Nancy, like some horror movie. These are real people doing real stuff that's based on ideas that were planted in their heads by other people. It's no different than
absolutely
burning or hanging witches 200 years ago.
Did anybody see what happened in Indiana? I think it was last week or the week before with the mom and the exorcisms and all of that.
No, I heard something.
So she and I may not get all these details right, so you can go fact check this. But the moral of the disgusting story is the mother felt like her child was possessed by devils, and multiple times tried to others had tried to perform exorcisms, and it got to the point where the exorcisms weren't working, praying wasn't working, and all of a sudden they find the child dead in a suitcase. And the mother's now, I believe she's sitting in prison right now, waiting for her official, charges and all that. But it's like, yeah, it's like still to like, there's no demons in your child, and unfortunately that bad idea, that bad belief led to a young child losing his or her life. That's fucked.
There have been women who've murdered their children because they're afraid if they get too old, they'll sin and go to hell. So they want to kill them before they reach that age. So they murder their babies.
Yeah, bad ideas can lead to bad behavior, and it's dangerous. It's not okay to believe stuff that's not true.
It is difficult. I mean, one of the big reasons why I started speaking out about the dangers of brainwashing and religion, and the way that white evangelical Christianity is kind of ruining our society. It was largely because I saw so many people who were talking about how, all these people are just stupid and brainwashed, or like comparing them to people who are dealing with mental illnesses. And like, I don't think that is right. I don't think that we should conflate having religious beliefs with having a mental disorder or a mental illness or struggling with your mental health. Like, I think that kind of just does a disservice and a major disrespect to people on both ends of those spectrums. But at the same time, I do grapple as well with this pipeline where your sense of reality can be so warped to the point where there is no means of reason. There is no way to convince you that by, pulling an Abraham on your little Isaac, you're not actually just doing a horrible, evil deed. And I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. Like, I cannot say what that line is between being devoutly religious and convicted in this worldview and being a danger to yourself and your loved ones and the people around you and society at large.
Well, we've had people on this show that we've asked point blank, Genevieve, if God told you to kill your son, would you do that?
Yeah.
And they said yes.
Absolutely.
This is modern, current day. This is not old times.
So if I can ask a question, because I think this is I hold this opinion. It's very unpopular within the theist community, but there's even some atheists that push back on me on this, and I don't give a shit. But since we're here and this came up, I feel like with those type of atrocities that are attached to this book, this belief, this idea, and I always draw the analogy. Well, I'll say this, and I draw this analogy, and I'll let you guys throw your opinions out there. But you're guilty by association. You are held to a certain level of responsibility because you buy into the same book. You go by the same training manual. You go by the same owner's manual. You attribute everything to that, just like they do. So just because you might have other ideas of interpretation or whatever, you're still guilty by association. Just like if I get in a car with one of my old high school buddies, I don't know it, and he's got a couple pounds or a key or whatever of drugs in the car that I had no idea was there. I could still, depending on the cop, I could still get hung up for that, right? I'm guilty by association. I'm there, and nobody wants to take ownership. So now I go to prison too, and I view it the same way. So I would love to hear other people's opinion on that, because I catch a lot of shit for that.
Thoughts, team? Anybody?
I mean, I have thoughts, but I can also talk for forever, and I'm here all the time. So, Nicole,
so everyone thinks that they're interpreting it correctly. You know, so everyone who has a different interpretation will assert that theirs is the correct one. So they distance themselves from others because, well, that's not the true Christian. That's not the true interpretation. But they're all, like you said, starting from the same playbook. So I do think that has to be some acknowledgement of that, whether you think they're interpreting it correctly or not. You're all still trying to interpret the same thing and going in some crazy directions.
Yeah, no doubt.
Even if you go back to like the earliest Christian authors in the 2nd and 3rd century, like Irenaeus, Justin Martyr, etc., before there was even a Bible, there were Christians arguing with other Christians saying, no, this group of Christians, don't listen to them. They're possessed by the devil. They're children of the devil. Their truth is not the real truth. My truth is. Like, they will say that in letters to each other back and forth and to their respective congregations, like just demonizing each other. Like, who do you believe? But which one's right? And again, they didn't even have the Bible yet. So,
they've been arguing about that since, Peter and Paul with circumcision. Yeah. I mean, they couldn't even get out of the first church without disagreements. I mean, my God, what hope did this have to find any kind of consistency? But I want to get back to Halloween a little bit.
In fact, Dave, we do have a call. Apparently, it's a funny story about a hell house. If you'd like to use that to transition to,
is it? Can we take it? I think we've been having trouble with calling, but
we can try it.
Try it and see.
Should be a good time. It's good old Tiger, him from Colorado, faithful caller.
Oh yeah,
funny guy. Let me try to pick this up. Hey, Tiger, are you on the air with us? Is everything working?
Hello.
Hey,
Tiger.
How are you doing?
Well, a demon got him. Sorry, y'all.
Demon got him.
Yeah, I think College Studios got some problems tonight.
Sorry, I do.
Oh, well, now we got an echo. There is Tiger. Oh, shit. Tiger, you there?
I do. Oh, well, now we got an echo.
Oh, shit.
It's All Hallows Eve.
How's it going, gang? Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
okay, there we
go. And we've defeated Satan. How are you doing, Tiger?
How's it going, gang? Yeah, I'm here.
I think there's a delay.
Yeah. Doing good, Vive. How you doing, kid? You got the right and appropriate attire on.
I know. I went trick-or-treating tonight. Had to do it. So you said that you worked at a hell house. Is this
Yeah,
is this
in 1976.
Ooh.
So I'm very curious.
I think
feel
we ought to drop it because it's just going to be a real distracting. We've got some back and forth.
I'm very curious.
I'm wondering where this echo is going. Yeah, Tiger, I am going to mute you just for a second, and we'll see what's going on there.
Right here is evidence that you don't mess with the demonic on this unholy night. I mean, all kinds of stuff's going on, and there's only one answer for that. Satan is running loose among us.
I do want to, like what y'all were talking about with QAnon and some of these, the tendency for that sect of people to literally demonize their opponents. I feel like the seeds for that were kind of planted in the satanic panic, that came about when I was younger. And that's really what caused me to not be able to celebrate Halloween. So up until 3rd grade, I trick-or-treated with everybody. And then we moved to Virginia, and my mom starts working for Pat Robertson.
Yeah.
And there went Halloween.
It was Satan himself.
Yes, that was coinciding, though, with the satanic panic, that time period. And so I feel like it was culture wars. That was the way to win the culture war, was to demonize. And you just attribute it to being evil, to being satanic, to anything culturally that the right disagreed with. You labeled it, as such. And so with the Halloween thing, it was very confusing for me, because I'm like, well, did I already open up a portal to hell? Because I trick-or-treated for several years. So am I doomed already? What's happening? And it was kind of sold as, we're supposed to be celebrating light. This is Jesus, and Christianity is love and light. And why do we want to wallow in this darkness? And we can't let our kids participate in this darkness, because then that's just going to lead them straight to Satan. But yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels between what was happening then and where that's gotten us.
Yeah. And how old were you when you were having to wrestle with these ideas, these thoughts?
I was in 4th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like 10.
How wrong is that? I mean,
Yeah.
a 10-year-old child who should be experiencing the wonder of life and innocence and learning about things in the world, and you're wrestling with ideas about Satan and how evil you might be, opening portals to the demonic. I mean, that is so fucked up.
And are my friends going to hell because they trick or treat? Like, what does that mean for my friendships? And can I be friends with that? It just opens up a whole lot of questions and trauma, really.
And was your sister's quite a bit younger?
Mm-hmm. She was much younger. Yeah, she's 7 years younger than me.
That she wasn't really having to deal with that yet. She was too young for those questions.
No, but I feel like she never got, because she was younger. She was right in that era of CBN and Pentecostalism and all along what Oz experienced. Yeah, that was her
was
thinking.
Normal to her. Yeah. Whereas you had some conflicting notions that you had to wrestle with. Yeah.
Yep.
How old were you when you came to the realization that all of that was just bullshit?
When I didn't live with my mom in high school, I went to live with my dad, who was a non-believer, and that was very conflicting. My parents, my mom and stepdad, who were pastors, sent me to live with a non-believer, and that caused a whole set of, questions and problems in my head. Like, why am I here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to save him? Am I failing if we don't come out of this with my dad being a Christian and giving up alcoholism? So there was, that was a lot.
That's heavy stuff.
Yeah. So, but then, I got to trick or treat. I got to take my sister trick or treating and have some fun there. So it kind of started unraveling then for me, realizing, okay, I'm kind of having more fun with this person who's supposedly, evil. So yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it for me.
Would you say that was the beginning of your total deconstruction process? Just thinking through some things differently?
Yeah, I mean, I had always had a lot of questions. I was a kid who asked a million questions and always did well in school. And when I tried to, pursue things, I was told that I was trying to outsmart God and I needed to not be so academic, which is another problem in that whole community, that they downplay questioning. And so that was my, response that I got to questioning things. So I just kind of like, well, I guess I'm supposed to just toe the line and go along. And so you go along to get along. As a kid, that's your primary motivator. You want to, please your parents. So you just kind of stifle it and please your parents.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the net result is it got you out of the Christianity a little earlier than it would have, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I questioned a lot. We talked about this when I did a show with Oz last year. My parents were very strong in their faith. My stepdad was a pastor. I saw our family sacrificing and sacrificing and sacrificing and never getting the blessing. That was supposed to be part of the prosperity gospel. And so that was making me go, what's going on? What's happening here?
Yeah, where's God?
Yeah.
Hey, sis.
Oh.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on the and add some Halloween element to this. So my mom and Nicole, if you remember the house that I grew up in, you went around the little bend, and like a few houses down, there was a creek, and behind this creek there was these woods, right? And my mom had it in her mind on Halloween that we trick-or-treated. We started on this side of the house and went around the long way and came back, but we did not go by the creek in the woods because she was convinced via the Spirit, Holy Spirit or something, that there was witchcraft, devil worship, and even animal or some type of like baby or human sacrifice happening. And I'm like, Mom, I go play in these woods. Like, I don't know how many days of the week. Like,
Right.
There's no evidence of anything burning, there's like nothing, but she was convinced that there's this demonic activity happening. And then on Halloween night, like they had these rituals, right? And I remember finally when I hit like 13, 14 years old, something like that, I was like, you know what? And I'd already become the black sheep at that point. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to see if this shit's going on. I want to know about it. And I went to the woods and I'm like, nope, it's the same thing as always back here. Crickets and branches snapping and that's it, Mom. There's no animals or people being burnt. There's no rituals. There's nothing. But she tied it to Halloween night. That was the one night we did not go near those woods because they may grab us, my brother and I. They may grab us and we may be the sacrifice.
They being who?
Exactly.
Well, again, the irony.
The Satanists.
Devil worshippers.
Yes.
They
The
do like
Satanists.
But the
all the
irony,
rest of the
again, the
year.
irony is lost on them because what is the bedrock of the Judeo-Christian religion is sacrificing animals for your sins. The blood had to be spilled. In fact, there's a scripture that says, without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins.
It's true.
Think about that.
That's
Think about that. This
the
is
weird requirement.
this is the best God could come up with. I can't just forgive your sins. I can't just say, "Hey, you did bad. Don't do that again." And I'm gonna forgive you for that because I know you feel bad about it. No, an animal has to die.
What frustrates me so much is that, like, when we look at the history of the Christian expansion around the world and how it ties to colonialism and imperialism and capitalism, is that the justification for this was that, anybody who does not know Jesus is a savage, is, an evil devil worshiper. And even in schools today, when we're talking about various non-European empires, about how they did these crazy rituals with these sacrifices, and then you read the Bible and it's like, wait, point to the difference between these two pictures. They're the same picture. Why is one vilified and one is not?
Absolutely.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, and every time I hear that, all that plays in my brain is the Alanis Morissette song. Isn't it ironic?
Yeah, isn't it ironic? It's so frustrating. It's
So, Ashley, as a young adult, you bought into this stuff, the hell houses and the evils of Halloween. When did all of that kind of come into focus for you? When did you come to realize that's all bullshit? Or have you yet, actually? No, just kidding.
I mean, like, obviously.
Yeah, I think so.
I was in my early 20s when I participated in the hell houses, and I did fully believe in baby sacrifices, stuff like that witches on Halloween night sacrificed babies. And I was genuinely afraid on Halloween night. But when I officially stopped believing, I was around 27 years old. And so that was about almost 10 years ago now. And so it was a good part of my adult life that I actually believed that all of that stuff was true, that there was a quote unquote open door for anything even costumes like we were talking about earlier. But I remember I have this like vivid memory of being at a prayer center conference on Halloween night, and me and this other girl, we were praying because we believed that so back then I pastored in Iowa, and we were at this prayer conference in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at the time. So it was in the middle of the country. And her and I started praying in the middle of the night because we were afraid to go to sleep at night, thinking that there were witches out there in the fields sacrificing babies for real. And so that was in my early 20s.
Wow.
So mid 20s is about when I started kind of getting away from some of that thinking.
What would you have said to a young woman dressed like you are tonight when you were in that state of mind?
Gosh, I don't know exactly what I would have said, but I would have felt very heartbroken. And I definitely would have talked about the open doors that she was letting in, and like the demonic activity that she was letting in, and the foothold, if you remember that word.
The what?
The foothold.
Yep.
Oh God, yeah. Don't give the devil a foothold.
Yeah.
Yeah, the foothold that we were letting.
Nicole just went shudder.
There's some words that just.
Yeah, the foothold of the demons or Satan that we were giving them to.
Anything could do it. Anything.
Yes, definitely.
It was a very tenuous. This victory in Jesus that we supposedly had was really, really fragile, because any little thing you did could give him a foothold and open a portal, and then all hell breaks loose.
And when I hear foothold now, it's like, no, I love a good foot massage. By all means, hold my foot.
Hold my foot.
Rub it, hold it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little surreal to me that you guys were talking about how ironic it was, because I didn't really think about that, how ironic it actually was. That it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it is. The irony is just thick.
It definitely is.
I just have to say, apostate Ashley, I'm sure that the Christian, past state of you being would probably be really scared to see you. But like when I see you, knowing where you've come from, like I'm just so stoked for you. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yes, like cover your face in blood and wear that upside down cross. You are owning it. You are healing. Like this is amazing.
It is really cool. It's like the first time I've worn anything like this since being an atheist.
Yes.
So, I mean, it was always like stay away from anything evil or, anything resembling sorcery or witchcraft or anything like that. And so it was really actually liberating to wear this.
Dadpool,
for sure.
Did your church scene, when were you, at what age were you when you came to the realization that there was no evil, there was no devil, there were no demons lurking around trying to trip us up?
That was probably about 4 years ago now.
So it's that recent, yeah.
Yeah.
And was that part of your deconstruction process, letting all that go as you let faith go? You realized all of that, the whole idea of a supernatural world, good or evil, was just nonsense.
Yeah, pretty much. It's weird, like, because I did, like we were talking, I grew up in that atmosphere where there's spiritual warfare, everywhere, and you have to stay on top of your prayers and your Bible readings, your devotions, and fasting, like do all this stuff, tithing, in order to keep the demons at bay. And if you slip up, if you sin, they're gonna come in and it's gonna fuck up your whole relationship with
footholds.
So yeah, it's a build. So yeah, then at some point I was just like, none of that's true. Like I stopped praying, stopped reading the Bible, stopped all that stuff, and I was like, nothing changed. Like sometimes good things happen to me and sometimes bad things happen to me. That didn't change when I stopped praying. Like what was Jesus doing that whole time? Because You'd think I would have had this picture perfect life with how much I was praying and studying the Bible, and we've never had anything bad happen to me. But
it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. And the message then is that God's testing you. He's building your character. You got to pray more, fast more, read more, do more, because God is sitting there like a dysfunctional parent wanting you to come and beg him for a scrap of bread. And it never occurred to me how messed up all of that was. It never occurred to me how little sense it made that the God of the universe, who supposedly made me and counted the very hairs of my head, and formed me in my mother's womb, that victory was so fragile that any little thing I did, at any point in the day and night, constant vigilant, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, roams about like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. That scripture is still in my head because I know it was that pervasive. That message was that pervasive that all this time later, I can still spit it out verbatim from all those times I've preached it and quote it and thought it. We had some problems with the call-in studio tonight. Excuse me. And so Oz has posted a number you can call. We won't screen it. So we're taking a chance here. And I swear to God that isn't real. If anybody calls in to do anything weird, I will drop you so fucking fast it'll make your head spin. Or Oz will. Oz, I'm boasting. I don't have any control over the phone. So Oz, you drop them so fast their head will spin. Okay?
And then we're gonna make fun of you afterwards.
And then we're gonna make fun of you afterwards. And then we're gonna open a portal of hell right over the top of your head if you call in to try to do anything.
We're gonna get a foothold, and then you're going down.
So
this next season of your life is gonna be bad.
Yeah. Shut. Shane.
That's another word.
666. Yeah, that's a wrong show, Shane. But go ahead and have a shot. Have a shot on me, bro. Where's that number again, Ethan? If someone wants to call, someone give us a number. Yep. You got that, Genevieve?
260-823-2082. So yeah, please call us. Sorry, call-in studio is being wonky.
Oh, Oz is screening a call now, I'm told.
Yeah.
I do this.
Thank you, Oz.
Hold on. Oz is screening a call even as we speak. Okay. Go, Oz. This is high quality journalism here.
Hey, it's just a fantastic guest.
This is fine.
Call screener.
This is fine.
Everything's fine.
Nicole is just drinking straight liquor out of that coffee cup. She's just slamming it tonight. She says, since I've opened the demonic portal, I'm just going to go for it.
Hey, Jesus turned water into wine, so drink up.
You're turning water into bourbon. Go ahead.
Oz, if you do want to chime in and just let us know some warning before you put somebody on the show, that'd be great. But
I'll just let them on. It's Halloween. Let them on.
This is true. Yeah, it's a holiday. I don't want to rub it in people's faces by sharing my own childhood and my own experience with Halloween. But
we hate you, Genevieve.
I'm sorry. Believe me, I have plenty of childhood trauma that's completely unrelated to any religion.
Halloween. Okay.
No, but not to Halloween. Halloween was this one special time of the year where I was so excited and so happy. So I grew up going to a private theater school for elementary school. It was a junior preparatory theater school. So our core curriculum, our English teachers, whoever, not always the best. Some of them were great. Thank you, Mr. Truby. But our productions, our theater, our arts were top of the line. No 4-year-old needs to learn how to sing from somebody from Juilliard, but that's just, I guess, what they spent their money on. But I digress. Halloween was so special because my mother grew up really poor in Michigan, and she was the oldest of like 5 or 6 children. Sorry, aunts and uncles, I can never remember how many of you there are. But as a result, she learned how to sew and fix clothes, and she would make the most elaborate costumes. And so Halloween was so exciting. Like months in advance, I would be at the fabric store looking through patterns, looking at ideas, watching movies, just thinking about what I wanted to be.
Wow.
And my mom and I, we would go like in the summer and start picking out fabric and start making costumes together. And so I had some really elaborate ones. Like one year when I was maybe, I want to say it was maybe like 7, somewhere between like 7 and 9 maybe. I wanted to dress up as like a really cute devil. So like we made like a cute little like hoop skirt, like satin, like a short satin hoop skirt dress.
Dress up
with
like a devil. I
Yeah,
love
with
it.
like a long sleeve with like feathers on the end, and it was so
Aw.
much fun. And my friends and I, we'd all meet up at my friend's apartment, which was like right outside the nicest neighborhood in San Francisco. And so we would go, trick or treating around all of these beautiful mansions, and it was like just this big party, and like all these rich people would have like full-size candy bars. Like we trick-or-treated at
Oh my
Robin
God.
Williams' house.
Oh my God.
One year he gave out full-size candy bars. The next year he gave out toothbrushes.
Oh.
Wow.
But
What happened?
You got
I'm
saved.
not sure. I'm
Got
not sure.
saved.
And I didn't. But I also didn't ask him. It was his house, but I'm pretty sure it was like his housekeeper, or like a nanny or somebody who was handing this out. But it was like, even though I didn't grow up with religion, I do mention I had a lot of childhood trauma. Like I was always a very anxious, depressed child. But Halloween,
Except at Halloween.
yeah, it really was like this time that
That's
I felt
wonderful.
so free and so
Yeah.
happy to
That's
just
so great.
be
Hey,
whoever.
I have a caller if you guys want to take.
Okay, bring that caller in,
Yeah.
Oz.
All right, so the caller is Jesse. The topic is first time trick or treating at 29 years old. What's up, Jesse?
Woohoo!
Can you hear us, Jesse?
Yes, I can.
Oh, there we go. There we
Thank
go.
you so much for taking my call. I'm a huge fan of the show. I got to start by saying that.
You're a huge fan of Genevieve. I know that.
Oh man, guilty as charged.
Ah, shucks. Hi,
Tell us-
honey.
This is Genevieve's honey.
Genevieve, you can cash at me that $25 that we talked about for talking about how great you are on the show. First of all,
There you go.
okay.
Aw.
But
Yeah,
I guess I start by telling you guys a little bit about myself. My father was a missionary to Pakistan for 15 years, which is where he met my mother. My older sister and I were born overseas in Pakistan, and then we moved back to the States. But my father started a series of Bible colleges and churches and whatnot over there, schools, all the above. Did a lot of good work over there, I guess. But I guess the real reason I'm calling, because let's stick to, I don't want to sound like I'm giving a testimony here, guys.
Preach it.
But exactly, right? But tonight I'm 29 years old, and tonight is the first night that I have ever gone trick or treating. And I gotta say that thank you. It was awesome. I had a really, really great time. It was very liberating doing that. After not being able to experience it as a child, I remember multiple years in a row where I just cried because I couldn't go dress up with my friends and go trick or treating, and it just seemed so harmless to me. And apparently it was just a wicked holiday to celebrate, so I just was not allowed to do so. So shout out to Genevieve for taking me trick or treating for the first time tonight ever at 29 years old.
Yeah.
And and shout out the city of Frederick for being so receptive to a 29-year-old fan of Harry Potter, nonetheless.
It was.
I got to say, Harry Potter was very suiting because I wear glasses.
He did. So
You pulled it off. I love it.
yeah.
I did. It was a great night. But yeah, everyone was so receptive. But
That's
I
awesome.
really appreciate what you guys do with the show, and man, it's really, really good to know that I'm not the only person out there that was not allowed to watch Harry Potter as a kid. Just dressed up as Harry Potter tonight. and who's not allowed to go trick or treating, and all these things that just seem so harmless. You know,
because they are.
Yeah, and it really, really, really hurt, you know, growing up like that. And
I'm sorry.
It might seem silly to people who were allowed to do that, but you know, to someone who wasn't allowed to, it was
no, it's not silly, because you were treated as, you were made to feel other. You were made to feel different. You were made to feel less than your peers. At those ages, peer pressure is probably the most powerful thing that we deal with. It's the most, it's the strongest. It can be the best thing for you or the worst. If you get in the right flow of the peer pressure, and I shouldn't say peer pressure, but you get that support from your peers. It can incredibly boost your ego and your confidence. But if you get on the wrong side of that flow, it can crush you. And just a simple thing like Halloween and going trick-or-treating with your friends, I'm sure they may not have said anything, they may have. But even if they didn't say anything to you, they probably thought, what is wrong with him? What a weirdo. You know, what a weird thing that he can't go trick-or-treating with us. And it's terrible that you had to deal with that. And I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate the support, and you know, it's still dealing with it, you know. But I remember specifically one of my friends had a Harry Potter themed birthday party, and I was allowed to go to the first part of it. But when they started watching the movie, I believe it was the second movie at the time that came out during his birthday, I was told I had to leave by my parents, and we exited, and I went back to my house. And you know, I just remember being very, very upset about that moment, you know, not only because, you know, it wasn't so much that I couldn't watch the movie, but it's, you know, I just couldn't be a part of that experience with my friends. And that really, really hurt. And, yeah, you know, so it really is nice to watch the show and just to, you know, hear you guys talk about similar experiences and hear about other people calling in and going through similar things, you know. And Dave, I got to say that that picture you posted about the the couple's Halloween costume was spot on.
Spot on. You lived it.
That was amazing. That was so spot on. I was like, oh my god, that's so hard.
That Nicole sent that to me today. So
I was allowed to watch Harry Potter, but Narnia and Lord of the Rings were God's movies themselves, you know, let me tell you.
Yeah. Those two were written by white Christian men.
That's how you know it was real.
Well, Jesse, can I just say, as
on my screen, I cackled. I mean, I laughed so hard.
That's funny.
He really did. He really did. I should have showed you that when you were not driving, because that's a little dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I made you laugh so hard. But you know, I will say, just as somebody who never even knew that Halloween was something that was vilified by a group of people, like I didn't meet an outspoken Christian until I was like in 6th grade. And I had to move across the country to do that. But you know, as somebody who grew up with Halloween just being like this big, awesome celebratory holiday, like I would not, you know, I would never make fun of you or think that you're crazy for not celebrating it. And I also think too that like I know that it's so hard when you are a small child and you get to see everybody else doing these things and you feel like everybody else is making fun of you. But I do think that so often people think about us a lot less than we think that they do. And so, like, even if you think everybody's laughing at you, oh, everybody's going to think that I'm crazy. Like, no, like, they're probably just going to be like, oh, man, I'm sad that Jesse's not here. And then they're just going to go out and go trick-or-treating. And and it still sucks. And it's still really, really shitty that you had to sit at home and hand out, you know, chick tracks and like couldn't even wear a costume. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah, that was the worst. And hey, icing on the cake was whenever we were passing out those gospel tracks along with the candy, and members of our own church would walk up dressed up, and I would look at my parents and I'd be like, why can't I do it if they're doing it? You know what I mean? I mean, they go to the same church as us, and it just seems so ridiculous, you know. But my dad was a firm believer in, you know, well, we got to be a shining light in this world. You know, what would people think, you know, if we went out and celebrated a devil's holiday. You know, we have to be a testimony to those, even if they're willing not to be. And it was difficult, you know, because I had to be such a grown up at such a young age, and it just forced me into this, I don't know, this isolated corner, you know, that I kept myself in. And I just want to tell my friends how I felt, you know, because there was a sense of pride there, you know what I mean? So it was like, hey guys, no, I don't even want to go trick or treating, you know, I'm just stupid.
Yeah. No, I don't want to do that.
Well, deep down, like, you know, I'm 29 years old, and if you guys could see the smile on my face tonight, dressed as Harry Potter as a grown man, asking for candy, I mean, it was the best night of my life.
See, now you can be over the top with it. Is it like my sister and I are both so over the top with Halloween costumes for our kids and celebrating. So now you've got license to just go wild with it, make up for lost time.
No, absolutely. I'm so excited to keep pushing Halloween these next couple of years and just keep doing it bigger and better.
Good for you, man.
We're gonna get so hardcore.
Well, good for you getting out of it, Jesse. I mean, you know, it's not always easy to break free from that, and you did it.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, there's still years and years of other topics and other, you know, traumas to digest and talk about and go over. And I look forward to being able to call into the show and talk to you guys about it. I mean, it means a lot that you guys even do this.
Right.
I can't express that enough, you know, and it's not just me. I mean, there's thousands of people all over the world who watch the show, and I know it means a lot to them too. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Jesse. Well, you've got a good partner there. I love you guys. I got a chance to meet Jesse last year at the beach, and looking forward to it again. And you're a good dude, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, Dave. I look forward to having some more conversations with you in the future as well, man. And,
absolutely, we will.
Guys. Shout out Captain Dadpool. Shout out everybody, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to take my call. I really appreciate it, guys.
Happy Halloween, you heathen.
Happy Halloween.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go dive headfirst into this candy I was
bet.
Yes, eat your first Halloween candy. Yay.
Genevieve, he'll have it all eaten by the end of the show.
Oh, that's fine. He's taking pretty much all of my candy. That's fine. Thank you.
He's earned it. He
has. Mike Hopkins, thank you so much.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the super chat, brother.
Oh man.
Bye, Jesse.
Bye, Jesse.
Bye, man.
See you after the show.
That's fun.
Oh,
just save me the Reese cups. Save me the Reese cups. That's all.
Oh yeah, we do have Reese's cups. Can I just say I'm so grateful that when we went trick or treating tonight, we went to the street downtown. That it really is kind of like a block party. I went on Reddit, like on our community subreddit, and they mentioned that this street is the best street to go trick or treating on. And it was so true. I mean, it was a bunch of people like sitting outside on their porches, hanging out with their neighbors, just like, the best costumes. Jesse we had full-size candy bars. There was one of those houses. It was so exciting.
They weren't dropping little bags of candy corn in your bag? No.
One person even made like homemade candy apples. It was really
wow, that's cool.
It was such like and something that I was thinking about while we were trick-or-treating tonight. And you know, the first house that we walked up on, I remember Jesse even saying, like, you know, what do I even say? And it's you say trick or treat. But it's so funny that it's a holiday that is so vilified and demonized, and yet what I witnessed, like, it was a big community gathering of just neighbors sharing love and celebrating and like all of the things that people get from church. It's just we got to be super spooky and eat a lot of sugar.
And the costumes are not always spooky. There are all kinds of things. People like to get creative, like Nicole's tonight. It's fine as the world burns around her. That's just that's so creative. I mean, it's just, I love that. And so when you got your neighbors and you're all looking, what are you? Oh, what are you? And it takes you a minute to figure it out, and then you crack up. It's fun. It's just fun.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah. We always called it the devil's holiday too.
Yeah.
The way that he worded it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we called it. And we were, my mom was with us tonight. We were reminiscing about when I was like 12 years old, and about how we got in trouble. We weren't allowed to go trick-or-treating, and she took all of our candy from us.
Oh,
and we were like, you remember when you did that, Mom?
What did she
You
say?
took all of our kids. She's like, yeah, you guys weren't allowed to go. I thought you guys were too old. I thought it was wrong.
Oh, that's funny.
So it was a lot of fun to go tonight and go do that. That brings back some memories. The
That's
Devil's
good.
Night. That's what my mom always called it.
Mhm.
Well, it could be if there were a devil, but there's not, so it's not. So
No, there's not.
She called it Devil's Night. Is that what you said?
Devil's Night. Yep.
That's amazing. I just dropped an album called Devil's Night.
Oh,
I
there it
know.
is.
Isn't
Get
that
a plug. Get a
crazy?
plug.
Smooth.
What a coincidence.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Get
It's
that
on
in
iTunes,
there, nice.
Spotify, Amazon. I mean, you can go buy that. And obviously, Ashley's mom is a huge fan of my album. So
obviously,
She would be.
I will certainly just reiterate to all of the watchers and listeners that you should absolutely go listen to Devil's Night anywhere that you stream music and buy the album too. I'm sure it's on Spotify and you can like stream it there, but like if you could like buy it on iTunes, that would be so amazing. Are you
Yeah,
on Bandcamp, by the way?
and I am on Bandcamp.
Okay. Does Bandcamp still do like the Friday sales where like all the album sales on Fridays actually just go like pretty much 100% to the
Yep.
artist? Yeah. So okay. So Friday, instead of eating a bunch of fish, you Catholics, you should go buy Oz's album. But does anybody else, before we end the show, does anybody else have any amazing things that they're also working on, or like places that we can find you, or in like last thoughts about what it means to be a spooky heathen on the Devil's Night?
Where to find me? I'm Apostate Ashley on everything, but I don't have anything specific to being a heathen or Halloween night.
You can just be your awesome self. What are you
Yeah.
doing on the other 374 days of the year?
Well, I am a part of the clergy project like Dave is. And so I have been interviewing, well, I need to get back to it, but interviewing some other members of the clergy project to find out why they accepted the faith and why they left.
Mm-hmm. Good job too.
Yeah. Nicole, what do you got going on? What's your deal? If people want to see more of your amazing costume memes, where can they find you?
I am not super active on social media or anything like that.
Good
There's
for you.
nothing to plug, nothing to follow, really. I guess I can plug. My son just spoke at the FFRF
Yes,
convention.
I was going to say that.
I'm very
was
proud
your
of him
son?
for that.
Okay.
Yes,
I saw
he's-
Kathy post that.
I got to
Yes,
meet
he,
Ethan. He's such a good. He's just a sharp,
good kid.
sharp kid. Yeah.
He's next generation of secular humanists. He was really excited to go there and meet up with a bunch of other, college and high school kids and just kind of talk about where they're going and what they're going to do. So very proud of him. So that's
he
I'm being a
won
proud
an
mom.
essay. She's probably downplaying a little bit, but he won a scholarship writing an essay and sending it to FFRF, and they only chose a few of the essay winners to come to the conference, and he was one of the ones chosen. And they flew him in and put him up, and he wouldn't let his mom come. He wanted to do this on his own.
He did.
And I'm so proud of him. He's such a fine young man. And he's really, like Nicole said, he's the next wave. He's our future.
That's
He's-
amazing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Young people that have it figured out early and are not afraid to step up and talk about it.
Yes.
And that is just so awesome.
Yeah.
And other than that, Nicole plays a mean game of music trivia bingo. And I think we'll be meeting up tomorrow night to do that.
All right, good.
Perhaps.
Yay.
We've been out of town so much we haven't been able to do that since Nicole, this is a fun story. So because I knew Oz online, I believe your mom, your Aunt Kathy, told me that her daughter Nicole lives in Charlotte, where we are. And so I thought, oh well, shit, we should meet. And so we met a few months ago now, I guess. And we've just become really good friends. We've hung out several times, and we've had coffee, and we go play music bingo. And Bevan and I met her and a couple of her friends at neighborhood concert the other night, and it's just cool to meet like-minded people that live in your neighborhood, and so we've become friends. It's fun.
That's fucking
It's
awesome.
fun.
Yeah. So cool.
Because my mom set me up on an adult secular play date. Who knew that would happen?
Who knew?
I can't wait to come down to Charlotte and see you both.
That's right.
I used to live in Frederick, Genevieve. My son was born in Frederick.
Oh, my God.
So much of my
moly.
people are up there, so we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah. Get
about.
my stay on after the credits roll,
Okay.
and I'll see you backstage. And we'll
Ethan's cat says hi. He got a hold of the keyboard.
Aww. That's amazing.
And
Dadpool.
Yes.
What's your deal? Where can
What's your
people
deal,
find
man?
you? What are you doing? What are you?
I don't know what my deal is, man. I gotta stick up my ass the size of the ender tree, and my
What are
deal
you up
is
to?
I just wish people would love each other. You know, I don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not hard, but apparently it is.
Yeah.
And a reminder to everybody to vote.
Yes.
Yes, please
Yes,
vote.
please. Oh my goodness, for the love of nothing, vote. I mean, for the love of everything that is real and on this plane of existence, please vote.
Don't like your individual freedom depends on it, because it absolutely does.
It does.
Yeah. Or even the freedom of your neighbors. You know, you don't have to go through something to care about it. But Dadpool, I know that you're pretty big and awesome on TikTok. So you got one of those handles, and you got a YouTube thing, you got a podcast. You're so modest. You've got pluggables to plug.
Pluggables.
along with those holy weens. That's what I do most of my plug-in with. Hey yo. Okay. No, yeah, I'm on on the Clock app. I produce educational content on the Bible and atheism and church history, etc., etc. We have a YouTube channel called Nerds and Heresy, where I interview various scholars in various fields and other influential atheists in the field. I had Oz on last week, and we listened to like half of his album. It was very good.
Cool.
But other than that, I'm gonna start making longer form content on YouTube, going into heavier detail on some of the things I talk about. I'm working on a book that's not going to be done for a long time, probably a year or so, but I've been working on it pretty consistently, and I'm pretty excited about it. But other than that, yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram and stuff.
Good.
Easy to find.
Oz has his hand up. I see that hand. Thank you, Jesus.
So, Dave, I was going to message you or email you this, but I was like, no, I'm getting ready to be on a show with Dave.
All right.
So I'm going to do this publicly, and that way we can all just have fun with it. But we have already started planning Better 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave, this is the official invitation to be the and I'm not joking. I'm not joking. This is the invitation for you to be the headline, the premier, the number one speaker for Better 2023. So the invitation is there, and the dates. I'm waiting for the contract to come through, but it would be June. I think it's 3rd and 4th of 2023. But we would love for you to be. You don't have to answer this because I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to answer it right now. But the invitation is going to be there that you are the headline speaker for Better 2023 in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
City of my birth.
Yes. Yeah. I don't have to wait to answer that. I would love to, and I'm honored that you would give me that spot, and I'll put it on my calendar.
Hell yeah. I love you, sir.
Love you too, man.
Can you make the Better conference even better?
We just
better than better. Well, thank you, Oz. I appreciate that. Yeah, I look forward to that. It was a tough. I know you had a lot of challenges last year getting it going. But you pulled it off, man. It was a good conference.
It was great.
It was really good. Yeah. So thank you for that. we've got coming up on the show next month, because this is the end of October, a little bit of a lineup here. We've got next week, we've got Objectively Dan. He's going to be on with me. Genevieve is going to be off, but we've got a co-host that you're going to like there. And then the 14th, we've got the Final Exit Network, the show with them. I'll give you more details on that later. The 21st is going to be The Skeptic. A lot of you know him from YouTube.
Oh, I love him.
I know you know him, Ashley.
Yes.
And then to end the month of November, we have Andrew Seidel. And he's going to be talking about his new book, American Crusade, and how the courts are trying to put forth Christian nationalism in this country. And that'll be an interesting show. Right there's a copy. That book right there. Right on cue, Dadpool.
Stealing my thunder. I do know it's Dave's book, because Dave also has a book that's out. And we often do trivia for it, and it's always right by me. But I do still need to get.
Oh, you mean this book right here?
Oh, double whammy! I'm losing my business hat. Oh my lord!
Dadpool's on top of it.
Most of my books are like above my monitor.
Yeah. No, thank you.
But so, Dave, he didn't lick your book though. He didn't lick your book.
I snorted it though.
Yeah, that's true. I'm kind of glad
I got a paper cut when I licked Andrew's book, so I didn't want another one.
It's just a book, but that would make me feel a little uncomfortable. But you do you. You know, I don't know what your thing is. If it's books, I don't care.
We do not kink shame.
We're not going to judge. That's right.
Never.
There's no kink shaming.
Never.
If you've got a book fetish, you go for it, bro.
We're going to be you and me outside of the confines of marriage. Whatever. You are your own person. Happy Halloween.
And Genevieve, are you on any shows coming up?
I am not. I am slam packed with just being a human working a 9 to 5. I am on this show. If anybody's in Austin this weekend, you should hit me up on my channels to see how you might be able to see me at a not a non-secular event, completely unrelated to the atheist and ex-Christian community. I'm going to be in Austin this week, putting on a fundraiser for my nonprofit trying to cure children with rare diseases. So if you're in town and you want to come, it's going to be a lot of fun. I was like almost tempted to not plug that while I also have all of these satanic symbols on my face. But either way, you should come see me. And I am on TikTok. You can find all of my links on the show. And I'm on this show every week, except for when I'm out of town. But
and I'll be hosting the Atheist Experience next Sunday with Kenneth Leonard, who is also going to be my co-host the week, actually the next night with Objectively Dan. So that'll be fun. Anyway, that's good. It was a great Halloween show. This was fun.
I know. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
We kicked Satan's ass tonight, didn't we?
We did. We did. The devil tried to keep us down, shutting down Colin's studio, but we persevered. All praise be to Oz.
Oz came through.
Yay!
Cheers.
Okay. All right. I think that's our show.
That is our. Thank you, everyone. Nicole, Ashley, Oz, Dadpool. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
You guys were a lot of fun. Your costumes rocked. So I can't wait to get this fucking wig off my head. But that's our show for tonight.
Love you, Skittle.